What's up, weirdos? It's me, Jay Craft, your last chance to evacuate planet Earth before it is recycled. Coming at you from the universe of weirdos as a little bit bitter this week, a little annoyed. I had to pivot a little bit. I was originally going to kind of review a recent podcast that somebody did. As a lot of you guys might know, I recently have spoken a lot about my old school radio influences and mentioned certain people that have influenced me over the years, different radio shows that I used to listen to, Ron and Fez being the big one that influenced me a lot, and also Opie and Anthony. I've mentioned them a few times. I mentioned them on our You're Fired episode somewhat extensively. And you might remember from our feedback and questions, somebody asking me to engage in a certain style of podcast called a Dabbleverse style of podcast, which I don't know where the name comes from, but I have looked into, like, there are these podcasts out there. Who are these podcasts? Blind Mike Project, Uncle Rico, other guys like that. What they do is they'll watch other people's podcasts and they'll respond to the things that they say, kind of like a Jocktober type of thing that Opie and Anthony used to do back in the day, where they'd react to other people's radio shows and what they were talking about. Now, I thought about doing one of those this week because someone sent me a clip, well, actually a link from Opie and Anthony, and I've stuck up for this guy, saying I don't like that these Dabbleverse guys do this. I don't like that these Dabbleverse guys pick on Opie, because I like Opie. And, he was one of those guys that I felt like over the years got an unfair amount of shit on his own show because he wasn't the funny guy, but, he was the dude that played all the bits, answered all the phone calls, moved the show along and stuff. And I felt like people kind of lost sight of that with the old Opester over the years. And I guess he has since made his own podcast, which, Opie Radio. I used to listen to it back in the day, but I'm pretty sure his co-host died. And then, after that, I don't remember him posting for a while, and then I just kind of fell off from listening to it. But what he does now, I guess, is he does a live show on YouTube or Facebook or something like that every morning. And which, shout out Opie right here. I got my coffee. I got my coffee here. Drinking my coffee. But I haven't really watched a whole lot of Opie stuff lately, but this guy Dan, who really wants me to do these Dabbleverse type of podcasts, fan of mine from back when I used to do a podcast called The Unhappy Hour, where we would do similar stuff. We'd rip people apart. It was fun. But I don't necessarily like being the negative guy attacking some of these dudes. And when you look into the podcasts themselves, it's a well done steak. You know what I'm saying? It's something you have to chew on for a while. A lot of these references, you can't really pick them up as somebody who's just jumping in. It seems like there's a lot of references, a lot of people they talk about, a lot of things they talk about, where you've had to have been around for quite a while to know what the hell they're referencing. But Dan, the same guy who wants me to do these Dabbleverse style podcasts, did send me a clip of Opie's podcast from last week that really bothered me to the point where I was going to play several clips from out the whole thing and respond to them. But the problem is, I think he's gotten a lot of backlash from this podcast, and in particular the thing that I'm about to bring up, because when I went to download it this morning and chop it up for sound bites, Opie Radio on all of your podcast platforms has removed all of his podcast feed from all the way back until January. So that podcast that you sent me and I listened to and annoyed me no longer exists for me to download and chop it apart. And in the podcast, it's him and his co-host who, they have very, very little chemistry with one another. They were discussing New York politics and all kinds of shit, like weather and stuff, where it's hey, I could bitch about the weather too, and I think I have before. It's become a fucking windy bitch out there. This weather's sucking a thick dick, but you're not going to hear me fucking bitching about it, because then what am I going to do? Give you fucking traffic on the 10s? Nobody gives a fuck. It's a global podcast. Like, it might be nice where you're listening right now. So me talking about my windy, shitty weather means nothing to you. But someone sent me the Opie thing. I listened to it, and, in it, doing all that shit, bitching about the Muslim mayor of New York City, all of this stuff that's really just local to New York City people. But in it, he starts complaining about Amy Poehler and having a famous, popular podcast now, even though she's only been doing it a couple weeks, Ron. He's like super pissy about it. And to be honest, like, I didn't want to be somebody who shits on another guy's podcast. And I'm going to find this and actually chop up the audio and bring it to you for my podcast next week, because I have a lot to say about a lot of the stuff that he said in it. And I want the context, but I couldn't find the context because I couldn't download it this morning, because this dude deleted his whole feed. But I guess he pissed off a lot of people about this because he's pissed off about Amy Poehler having such a successful podcast. And in his rant, he says, there are 5 people out there, and I'm not even kidding you, 5 people who could actually do this, meaning podcasting. And I'm one of them, Ron. And I'm one of them. I'm going to repeat my same point 3 or 4 times, Ron, because I have nothing else to say. So I just repeat myself because I have nothing else to say. And I talk in a weird, unnatural voice. So, like, it bothered me to the point where I wanted to say something about it. I wanted to cut it up. I wanted to play it because while listening, because he sent me the thing timestamped, this is where he talks about him being one of the 5 best podcasters in the world, or whatever the fuck this Dan guy put it to me in the context. So I decided, I'm not going to listen to just this timestamp that you have. I'm going to listen to this whole episode of the podcast, just in case, there was some context I was missing from earlier. No, this guy legitimately thinks I am one of 5 people on God's green earth that can do a successful podcast. And that really, really annoyed me, because listening up to that point, I can confidently say, now I will say for the record, will I ever do anything as successful or as funny as the Opie and Anthony show? Absolutely not. That show was a juggernaut. It was groundbreaking. It was a pioneering comedy. Anybody in my generation who likes podcasting in a comedic sense is probably either influenced by Howard Stern or the Opie and Anthony show. So I can't really talk too much shit on their radio show because it was fucking great. It was an amazing show. But I can confidently say, after listening to what you had leading up to your comments about being one of 5 guys that could do this, Opie, I'm a better podcaster than you are. I'll throw that challenge down any day of the damn week. Like, I don't care that I do it every morning. I do it I'm doing this by myself right now. And yeah, maybe I only get around to doing it a half an hour once a week because I have a lot of other things going on. I have some side gigs that I need to fucking get to. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that actually pays a lot of money. And also, I don't want to do all the technology stuff that makes a successful podcast. YouTube. I mean, I'm pretty sure our feed is on YouTube, but it's just like a video. Like, the video is just the logo of the podcast. And I've never done anything to promote us on YouTube, so I don't think we've ever gotten any views, like, ever. But I mean, I know that there's a way to do all of this, and I know my podcast is not as successful as it could be or as I feel like it should be. And it all boils down to me. I'm not putting in the work and the effort into it because I really can't right now. Like, I've seen, going back to this Dan guy, he wants me to, I can set you up with the StreamYard. I know how to do all of this stuff, and like, I can help you out set this up. And I know, I appreciate it, and I will reach out to you when the time comes and when I do get around to doing this, but it's just like, it's not practical right now for me to have a video element, or for me to, like, I would feel like I would go live. He wants me to go live more often, which, I would if I could actually schedule something and stick to the schedule, but I can't, man. I'm a really busy dude right now, and that's not me trying to be like a dickhead who is acting better than anybody. Like, no, I genuinely, like, I barely find the time on the weekends to even do this, let alone add to it and do more. So I hear you, though. But I was just really bitter about that I'm one of 5 guys that can do it. And Ron Bennington's another one. Yeah, Ron Bennington is. He doesn't have a podcast, though. He's on XM radio. Ron Bennington is actually my biggest influence as far as broadcasting goes, is Ron Bennington. I could only wish to be a quarter of the broadcaster that Ron Bennington is. And if I ever reach even a 10th of the broadcaster that Ron Bennington is, I'm going to be a hell of a success. Because just a 10th of a Ron Bennington is still fucking golden. You might not be pure platinum with diamond encrusted fucking whatevers, but you're still gold if you're the 10th of a broadcaster Ron Bennington is. But Opie, you're not even close to a good podcaster, dude. Your whole thing is bitching about like all the things that have slighted you and how like everybody wants to be the part of the cool kids. And like I was so annoyed at this that I was actually going to do a Dabbleverse style show this week to talk about Opie Radio. And I mean, I've already given the guy fucking 10 minutes of my life so far, so I'll put it to rest for right now. But I had to pivot because I couldn't find it. He deleted all of his feed, which I'm guessing is because so many people went after him saying I'm one of 5 people that can podcast. When it's like, dude, you can barely podcast. So I decided to go back to the old well, as some of you may know that have been following the universe of weirdos since I transitioned over from just wrestling with criminals to being fully universe of weirdos. I've been trying to train AI, ChatGPT, to be a producer for my podcast. So when things like this happen, I can pivot and I can have different talking points and things that I can go through, and maybe not Google AI, ChatGPT can come up with different things that I can talk about on a day where I was going to play audio and react to it, but the audio doesn't seem to exist anymore. So I put in my prompt, which, this starts by, I'll let you in on my process. I tell ChatGPT a little bit about what my show's about, what I want to accomplish with the content and all this stuff. And then I created the prompt of, can you give me about a half an hour worth of topics that I can discuss on my podcast, Universe of Weirdos? And it spit these out and haven't read them yet. So here we go. We're going right off the cuff from about 5 minutes before I recorded. These are the prompts. The discussion points for this podcast as brought to you by ChatGPT. How about some worst first date stories? You can invite your listeners to submit their most cringeworthy and hilarious dating horror stories, from bizarre behavior to epic fails. Yes, I could. So if you want to, planetwnba@gmail.com. You can send me all of your horrible dating stories. I've had a few. I mean, I've dated some really fucking weirdos throughout, like people that I didn't want to be with or shouldn't have any business even being on a date with, but after a while you feel pot committed. Like, I've already spent 2 hours with this person and we still got all of this stuff left to do today, so maybe I should just stick it out, even though you just wanted to, like, when there's a red light, you want to just open the car door and run out of your car and just fucking just run, even while the car's still running, even though you drove. Just leave her sitting there all confused. What the fuck did this guy wrote? I don't like you. This isn't going to work out. As you're running away. Oh, man. But now the one that came to mind first, and I don't know why, because this isn't necessarily like the worst first date ever, but like I dated this girl, like I didn't date her, I went on a date with her, who I knew was going to be a high maintenance type of person. I knew that the date was going to cost me a little bit of coin, when we went out, but I still wanted to try to impress her and everything. And I just remember us going to Buffalo Wild Wings because she suggested it, actually, to watch the end of some game, some sort of sports game. I'm not sure which one. I don't know sports, Ron. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. But, so we go to Buffalo Wild Wings, and when they come around, we sit at the bar, and the bartender comes around and asks what they want. And she goes, "Can I get a Grey Goose and cranberry?" And that phrase, Grey Goose and cranberry, was my fucking, oh, that ain't going to be a second date. Fuck no. I'm sorry, but like Grey Goose, that's not a mixer. And if you're getting a vodka cranberry, you get shit vodka. Like you can't taste the vodka in it anyways. That's the point of the cranberry. That's fucking so weird. Grey Goose and cranberry. Yeah, okay. Let's take this drink from what would be $4 to $12 real quick. What a great person that I want to continue dating. No, thank you. How about discussing unwritten social rules? How about no? I'm not gonna fucking do that. That's hack as shit. Yeah, hey, don't be putting fish in the microwave at work. We all know that one, don't we, guys? That was fucking stupid. That one's lame. Weird neighborhood beefs, from passive-aggressive notes about overflowing trash cans to elaborate disputes over property lines. You could share funny stories of petty suburban rivalries and even include some of your own. We did, my whole family, we lived in an apartment complex that was like, it was a pretty nice apartment complex. I originally lived in this like loft apartment that was above a bank in my downtown area, which was super cool. Like I really liked it when I was a single guy, but like when I had a family, it started to become an impractical place to live, a little second story walk up that was above a bank. It was kind of cool, but not practical for a family. And we moved to an apartment complex that wasn't a terrible place. It was actually pretty nice. We'd hang out outside a lot. We had some good, like, these nice bushes in front of our place. There were a decent amount of trees and stuff. And then they started, like, downgrading the apartments, like, when we moved in, which I thought was strange. They started taking everybody's bushes out. And, like, they even said, we're making upgrades to the complex. But their upgrades were taking people's bushes out, cutting down a bunch of trees in the neighborhood. And then I noticed, like, the neighbors that started moving in were real trashy. So it was like it started to become a ghetto apartment complex, like, very soon after we moved in. And then there was this woman who moved up to the upstairs apartment, who would always come down tweaked out of her fucking mind to talk to us about some sort of important issue, some important neighbor issue. Like, she came down one time like it was such a fucking hurry, banging on my, hey, come to your door, and I opened my door, and she was like, yeah, so yesterday when I was playing with my kids, they spilled water on your porch, and I just wanted to tell you that. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, you knocked on my door. Like, what is going? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's okay. Like, you don't have to worry about it. It's fine. And then the third or fourth time she came to our fucking door to knock to talk about some sort of absolutely innocuous nothing, it was like, hey, lady, you don't ever have to come down here and talk to me. It's fine. You don't ever have to come and speak to me. You can keep to yourself. We'll keep to ourselves, and it's perfectly fine. I'll never be mad at you about anything or go and tell the apartment complex or whatever you're doing by coming down here, leaving me notes and stuff. We came by earlier and you weren't home. Here's my number if you want to call us. It was like, nobody here wants to talk to you. You're a fucking weirdo. So we knew after that like this place is becoming very ghettified, and we have a son that we want to raise in a normal atmosphere, so let's get the fuck out of here. And we did. We moved into this cool house, and we haven't looked back since. Other than that, the only other like neighbor beefs that I can think of was there was one time in college where I threatened to beat this one guy's ass because he wouldn't stop playing loud fucking music at like 4 a.m. Like, I had class at 7 a.m., and this dude would wake me up all the time, all throughout the night, and would even go like, this is college. Like, you should expect this kind of stuff. And I was just like, look, it is college, and I expect to go to class at 7 in the fucking morning. So if I have to come down here at 3 a.m. and tell you to turn down your music and lower the fucking bass levels because you're shaking my floor, I'm going to beat the fuck out of you. So knock it the fuck off. And then that never really happened again because I threatened to whoop his ass. Let's see. You can discuss bad ideas that seem brilliant at the time. Yeah, I could, but I think I already talked about my fucking dating life. So I don't need to keep going with that. Honest social media bios? That's fine. That's stupid. I'm not even going to even read your stupid suggestion for that one. Let's see. You could relive nostalgic snacks that probably taste terrible now and revisit foods from your childhood. I mean, yeah. There are still things from my childhood that exist. That I had a Gushers not too long ago. Like, I bought some Gushers for my son and he wouldn't eat them. Hey, I don't know why. He didn't like them. So I decided I'm going to eat a pack of these Gushers. I forgot how goddamn delicious they are. They were so damn good that I ate like 6 fucking packs of them in a sitting, and my stomach felt like shit. But I was like, man, that must have been a nostalgia thing that kicked into my brain, the taste of a Gusher, because I was like, oh my God, this is like crack. I need all of it. And I ate the whole fucking box of Gushers. So no, they don't taste like shit now. So I don't know what you're talking about, but I still get stuff like, Lunchables. I don't think that's ever been. Is that a kid food? That's just crackers and lunch meat. I don't know that that's a really child food, but I get my kid Lunchables now. I saw that they have Dunkaroos again, which is crazy. Which I don't know that Dunkaroos ever stopped existing, but they just weren't called Dunkaroos. There's always been some sort of cookie that you could dunk in frosting that has existed, but I don't know. I remember they used to have some shit foods that I haven't seen in the store from when I was a kid that I thought was weird even when I was a child, like the combination peanut butter and jelly, which I always thought was super odd because it didn't seem like that stuff would mix very well. The different colored ketchups that they had, like, you want a green ketchup? No, I don't. Let's see. You could talk about the strangest Wikipedia pages, or I could not. I could not do that. Reinventing chores as Olympic sports, come up with competitive rules and commentary for mundane tasks like competitive vacuuming, extreme dish stacking, or synchronized laundry folding. I used to be really good at stuffing a fucking washing machine as absolutely full as humanly possible. This came back to me being broke as shit when I lived in college and would have to clean all of my laundry in just like one load. So I would just shove everything to the fucking brim. And there was once where it was a public laundromat, and that thing was it was struggling. But I think that I would win fucking competitive stuff a goddamn washing machine full. I think I would be that guy. But everything else, I would have to actually prep that one if I wanted to reinvent chores as an Olympic sport. I have to come up with rules and shit. My son would probably be pretty good at sweeping for whatever reason. I have a 7-year-old kid who just likes to sweep the floors. He just walks around with a Swiffer, like just loving it, a duster, rubbing it all over shit. He loves that shit. Let's see. What about ridiculous internet conspiracies? Invent your own. Yeah, I don't need to invent my own. But I always liked Birds Aren't Real because that was one of those that they started as a way of making fun of internet conspiracies, and it ended up picking up people that actually did believe it, which is always hilarious. That is a masterwork of trolling, is coming up with the Birds Aren't Real thing as a joke and then having people go, no, dude, I think it's true. I think these pigeons really are spy drones from the government. Fucking idiots. I almost bought a Birds Aren't Real shirt, but I also didn't want people to think that I was one of those guys, so I didn't do that. Weird news and forgotten headlines of the week. Yeah, that would require a little bit more prep, and you're the producer, ChatGPT. Why didn't you come up with the forgotten history headlines and all of that shit? Unexpectedly funny local and international headlines, and offer your unhinged commentary. Oh, I'd be unhinged when I did it. Oh, baby, the door's off the hinges and we're laying it on the fucking coffee table to do cocaine rails the length of the door, baby. I'm unhinged talking about headlines. No thanks. I'm not going to do that. I could though. What about New York's Muslim mayor? We're all doomed. They're making it unaffordable to live here, Ron. You're retired and you don't have an income. People who have an income living there are doing fine. And this motherfucker has a beach house and a fucking penthouse apartment that he podcasts from and talks about how he can't afford to live. Sell that fucking beach house, idiot. It's fucking wintertime anyways. God, I'm so mad. I went from being somebody who was a defender of, not necessarily a defender, but hey, come on. Don't like rip on a dude who paved the way for all of us. Like, don't rip on this guy, to being like, man, fuck you. Man, I don't know. Like, who's next? Are you guys going to get me to rip on Ron Bennington next? I don't think you could. I don't think you could get me to do it. I actually, to be real, like, I stopped listening to the Opie and Anthony show because of Anthony, not because of Opie. And like, people give him shit saying he was the unfunny one and shit. But like, I started tuning out of Opie and Anthony when fucking Anthony started rambling about racism and guns and shit every day. I was just like, I don't have much of an interest in this guy talking about home invasions and black people are 10% of the population doing 90% of the crime. I don't care. I like a lot of black people, like plenty of them. I've dated plenty of black women. I don't have any reason to hate them for absolutely no reason. You fucking weirdo. I don't even know how I got back on that one, but I got back on the Opie train. But yeah, that one really did annoy me, man. Like, it's like, this is a guy that I liked a lot who was just basically talking shit on anybody who's trying to do something. You guys can't do it as good as me. I can, and I am doing it as good as you. I'm doing it better than you. I'm only doing it a half an hour a week, too, and my shit's better quality than yours is. That's what bothers me the most about this. And next week, I'm going to find that podcast because somebody has it saved somewhere. It's pissed off several people, this guy saying, I'm one of 5 people that can podcast and nobody else should even try. Man, fuck you. Who are you going to get me to hate next? You can't get me to hate Fez Whatley. Oh, he's dead. Oh, Scotty Farrell? You're going to get me to hate Scotty Farrell? Scotty Farrell, how can I be the man if you the man? Shake it up. You're not going to get me to hate that guy? I love that mumble mouth weirdo. He does a sports show, by the way, Scotty Farrell. He does a sports show that I listen to sometimes. I fucking love that dude. Hey, Scotty Farrell here. Hey, welcome to the sanitarium, baby. How can I be the man if you the man? You the man, you the man, you the man. I love that guy. Fucking complete weirdo. That's the universe of weirdos, man. All those dudes shaped my fucking sense of humor and my broadcast style and all that shit. I love those fucking crazy, strange sons of bitches. Which ChatGPT suggested that I could talk about bizarre professions, research and discuss the strangest jobs, both modern and historical. How about the radio show host that used to be good? That's a long forgotten piece of career that does no longer exist. I was in a different vehicle not too long ago. Like, I have my own thing set up in my car of the stuff that I listen to every morning. But I had to be without my car for a couple weeks, had to drive a different car that was just AM, FM radio. Tried to find some good AM, FM radio talk shows in the morning. There wasn't a fucking one. None of them were at all good. One guy was like, hey, everybody give us a call in. We're talking about our favorite hoodie. Everybody call and let's discuss your favorite hoodie this morning. Like, that's your phone topic? That's the worst shit I've ever heard in my life. So I really, I hate that this was what I had to bring you guys this week because I really did want to have that podcast. I wanted to have it chopped up. I wanted to be able to react a lot to it. I wanted to dabble with the Dabbleverse, if you will, even though that's not my style. I don't want to start these little wars with guys. I don't want to fight you dudes and get you guys pissy at me about dumb shit. And like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the, radio war guy. And I never will be the radio war guy because I think that all of the stuff that you guys do are valid. But the fact that this guy said I'm one of 5 people that can do a podcast and I listened to that whole entire podcast and barely any of it was listenable. It just made me feel like I needed to dabble with dabbling for this week. I will find it. I will chop up that audio and I will react to it next week. I promise you. That is a preview. Next week, I will be talking about Opie Radio and reacting to his podcast, including what makes him the one of 5 people only in this world that can successfully do a podcast. That really bothered me. Someone that I look up to saying that. Really, really annoying. But hey, if you want to check my other podcast, I have 2 of them, even though I'm not one of 5 people that can successfully do one. I do have another podcast about the WNBA that I do with my brother Dan. It's called Planet W, a WNBA podcast, and it's fun. That's where my email comes from, by the way, planetwnba@gmail.com. Send me all of your feedback and questions, or you can find me on Twitter, /X, JCraft247. That's where I got my Hear What Opie Said message, and I was really disappointed that he deleted his podcast feed, but I'm guessing it's probably because more than 5 people came out to tell him that he was full of fucking shit with his I'm one of 5. Fuck you, man. That really bothers me, guys, but hey, like, share, rate, review, all of that good stuff. 5 stars across the board, Spotify, all of that good stuff. Help us grow this show. I like doing this one. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot less structured than Planet W. And it's, you know, this is my for fun podcast. This is my doing whatever and whenever and talk about whatever I want podcast. That's the whole point of Universe of Weirdos. Different topics all the time. And I will be back soon. I know I've said this a lot, but I will be back soon with another Wrestling with Criminals coming up soon. I've been trying to get Sean Jones to meet up with me and stuff. Like, the problem is, I could have a whole, like, you know, a whole harem of podcast co-hosts if I just had a shitload of free time. But I don't. So, like, I could get together with my old buddies, Dion Curry. That's who Dan wants me to do a Dabbleverse show with. Sean Jones I could record more regularly with, but you know, most of the time you get my brother because we're already in the same room recording Planet W anyways, or my wife because she's sitting here listening to me record by myself and might as well just jump on a mic. So, whatever. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. I will see you next week when I talk about Opie and react to Opie Radio being one of 5 people that can run a successful podcast. Is it true? Nope. But I will see you then. Blasting off. Peace.